All right, guys, we are live. It's episode 223 of the Shooter's Mindset. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I'm your host, Anthony. Joining me, Nikki Clevenger. What's going on, Nikki?
Hey, guys.
Jennifer Seymour is joining us. What's on, Jen?
Hey, everybody.
Guest and star of the hour. What are you? Owner of Patriot Shooting Academy, right? Multiple-time GM. It's been around. Been playing the game for a long time. Gilbert Perez is joining us. What's up, Gil?
Hello, folks. How you doing?
It's good to have you on here. We had an interesting conversation here in the pre-chat that kind of started up, and we're going to talk about. And I know some of you guys are probably going to be interested in it. Is a certain draw technique that Jen, Nikki didn't even hear about. I'd known about it, but I guess I said, I'm just going to do with what I know and what I've been going with. But it's a lightning quick way to get the gun out of the holster. So stay tuned for that. Show sponsors here, the folks over at Tactical Shit, shop.tacticalshit.com for all your tactical shit needs, okay? Base pads, rifle gear, clothing, they got it all. We got a discount code coming from them later on in the show. Folks over at Gear Nation USA, awesome apparel, the Shooter's Mindset's exclusive dealer for for Gear Nation USA. Check them out at the shootersmindset.com/shop, all right? If you want to get your Q&A, any questions that you have for Gil or any of us here on the show, if you're watching on the YouTube side of things, top right-hand corner is a good way to join the conversation. Also, if you prefer to use Facebook, the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page, as opposed to just went live, plug in your comments there. We'll get them out throughout the show. All right. Lastly, the shootersmindset.com for all your Shooter's Mindset kind of needs, right? We have blogs, shop. You can find out more about us, and you can watch the Shooter's Mindset show live over on the website, theshootersmindset.com. All right. Let's kick this one off. Gilbert, for those who are unfamiliar with you, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what got you involved in competitive shooting?
Well, I've always liked shooting, and when I was a teenager, I did a lot of shotgun shooting. I did some pistol shooting, but I always wanted to look for something a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more interesting. And I'd read in magazines back in the early 90s about IPSC shooting or USPSA shooting, and so life took over. I started working, and soon after that, a friend of mine told me there was USPSA shooting in a local club, and I went and I shot. This was December 23rd, 1996. I shot my first USPSA match, and I was hooked. I was hooked like I'd taken crack. All right, it was a done deal for me. So I've been shooting USPSA, IPSC since then.
And did you shoot in a local club down here? Because you're originally from Miami, right?
Correct. So my first local match was a very, very small club over in Miami.
South Florida Pistol Club. Yeah.
Well, South Florida Pistol Club is where you guys are at, up north, and this was Pan American.
Okay.
And so it was a one bay. They only had one bay. What they would do is they would set up 2 speed shoots. Then they would combine the 2 speed shoots and make a field course out of it. So you shot 3 stages. And then the Fort Lauderdale club had their match. So we went to that one as well. And then we had Naples Swamp Rompers over in Naples, which is that one's no more. And then we had the Fort Myers River Rats over at the Hanson Range. So we had a lot of shooting in the area. We had a lot of good shooters, a lot of shooting. So there was a lot of room to be able to improve with these guys that were already up there. These guys were up there. You would learn from them. These guys were guys that had gone to the Nationals, guys that had been, top 16, like Armando Valdez, Dave Pruitt, guys like that were in those clubs. And so we were able to have good competition. I have a very competitive spirit. So that fit me and I loved it. Like I said, I've been doing it ever since.
Frank Garcia was another one that was down here in the South.
Yep.
Dave Pruitt's a legend down here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I always, when I got into it, I'm like, man, I don't know where are we shooting? I was just shooting at like Markham Park. We had one giant bay. We squeezed in like 3 stages. We can only shoot straight ahead. Couldn't shoot side to side or anything. And they kind of trickled away. I don't think there was that Miami one. There was Hanson was still going, but now we got pretty much a match every weekend if you wanted to hit between South Florida Pistol Club, IDPA, Homestead. there's a lot of matches now and a lot better ranges coming down here. So fortunate enough for South Florida people. There we go.
Yeah, that was you couldn't practice. I mean, there wasn't any place that you could practice the dynamic stuff that you need to practice with USPSA, IPSC, or IDPA. So we resorted to a lot of dry fire is what we did, and that's where a lot of those techniques get honed out, anyways. So,
and from there, you've been on Team Smith and Wesson, which is a legendary shooting team. I mean, some of the folks who's been there forever are still on there.
Yes.
Later on, then SIG, which kind of like original Team SIG, right?
Well, yeah. First I was with SIG in 2003, and then with Smith and Wesson in 2008.
Okay, so first with SIG, then Smith. So there you go. I mean, you've had some really top, big time finishes at national and stuff like that, right?
Top 16, both in production, limited 10, limited. When I started, there was only 2 divisions. It was limited and open, so you had to choose one of those, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, I've been very fortunate. I've been very fortunate to be able to shoot with some really great people, some awesome shooters and awesome people, and that's what I like about this sport. The people you meet are just really awesome. They're great people. They're very respectful. At least it used to be that way.
Yeah.
So
there we go. Well, let's get into this conversation here. And I know it's way further down in my notes for the show, but I want to talk about this draw technique. Okay. So there is what I call, and I'm sure, I don't know, maybe someone might call it different, but there is something called the scoop draw technique. So unloaded firearm here, just in a basic holster, right? Where you're kind of starting off and you're scooping the gun out of the holster versus, I'm going to say, the more traditional technique where you just start kind of slam your hand down on the gun and then retrieve it that way. Okay. So I've known about this, something that I was like, every time I seen someone that was really good at doing this technique, I'm like, wow, that's lightning quick coming out the holster. I tried it for a second, and then I was like, you know what? I didn't feel too comfortable, probably because I didn't practice it enough, and I just kind of resort to the old traditional way I've always been drawing the gun out of the holster. Nikki, Jen, have you guys heard about the scoop draw technique?
About 20 minutes ago, whenever y'all just went over it in the pre-show.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I just didn't realize it. I just thought people were that fast. I mean, I don't know if I've recognized that there's a different way to do it. So if someone else was doing it and I saw it, I probably just thought they were lightning fast at the old way. I didn't realize it was a whole different technique.
Did you ever find that video on Gil's page?
No, he hasn't accepted me as his friend yet.
Okay, so yeah, there is. If you go to, he don't have like an athlete's page, but if you go to Gilbert Perez, just bombard him with a bunch of like friend requests, like thousands of you. Let's see if we can see his videos. You might be able to see some if you go to his training. Also his training page, right? Patriot Shooting Academy has a Facebook page, right?
Yes.
And I think you shared some of those videos on there as well. Yes. So Patriot Shooting Academy on Facebook, scroll down, you'll see some videos. I mean, the draw is like the buzzer goes and the gun's out. It's like wicked.
So should we share this on the Shooter's Mindset?
Yeah, share it over there on the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page, and we'll see some of those videos. But Gil, if you can tell us a little bit about this technique, and like I said, there's some high disaster factor here, right? So we're scooping the gun out, so that's the possibility and why I kind of switched. We're scooping the gun out, and you just don't get that kind of thumb to wrap around it as it's coming out the holster. You can lose the gun. Gun might fall down range, and then we know what happens there. It's a DQ. Right.
That's correct. Okay. Yeah, you have to get that thumb over the back of the gun as soon as you feel it coming out of the holster. All right. If not, you will cant the gun forward. It's not that it might. You will, because the way that you're scooping that gun up, if you have nothing to hold it in the back, it's gonna flip over towards the front on you. Okay. Right, so it took a lot of dry fire. I don't remember how or why I did that the first time back that was in the early 96, 97. I noticed that it was a very, very fast draw, and I really liked it. And I think it was I was using an Ernie Hill holster. Really, back then that holster was way ahead of its time. Okay, and it was a very fast holster, and it lent itself for the scoop draw very easily. It was very quick. My average draw back then in limited would have, On a 7-yard target, it was about 0.7, 0.75 on an A zone, and so right off the bat, it's a psychological thing. All right, you start very aggressive, and you're going to continue that aggressiveness through the stage, and so that's why I use it on myself. Okay, just to keep myself aggressive on the stage. At the same time, if you and I are very similar in everything we do, except for that draw, in a speed shoot or whatever, I am going to get you by about half a second right off the bat. I'll have half a second on you on that stage, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you meet that draw. And so that's where that comes in. What's your average draw?
It's definitely not 1.7. It's probably like a second, like 1.2.
Okay, 1.2 on a what are you talking about? 10-yard target, 3-yard target, 7-yard target?
I would say 7-yard target.
Okay. Average draw for me and Paul Kerr, who uses the same exact draw. Paul is actually a little bit faster than I am. He's about 5. Where I'm a 7.5, he'll be a 7. All right. On a 7-yard target, 10-yard target, doesn't, it'll be about the same for us. So right then and there you have, on every stage, if you can do that, which nowadays not many stages allow for a straight up draw onto a target. You have to step in. You have a lot of step in draws. But we've been able to incorporate the scoop into the step in draw. Okay, and we've been able to keep that step in draw in under a second by incorporating the scoop into it. The technique is very tough, but it's not impossible to accomplish.
Boom. So there, you said you use to keep that obviously dry fire and stuff like that. But one's going to say, man, is it worth the disaster factor, right? You said you have index points and how you set up before you make the draw to make this efficient.
Absolutely. I use the heel of my palm. If you look at that video, you'll see where I keep the heel of the palm making contact with the bottom of the holster. Okay, that allows me to put my middle finger to right it on the rear portion of the holster and right it all the way up till I get to where the front strap of the gun and the trigger guard meet. Okay, that's where I hook the gun right there. At that point, as I feel the gun coming out of the holster, I bring my thumb over to keep the gun in place and to keep that consistent. It keeps my grip very consistent on the gun every time I do that also. All right. Now, yes, there is a disaster factor. If you don't practice this, if you don't do it correctly, you will drop your gun. There is no doubt. I mean, I've dropped it a bunch of times in dry fire in the beginning. And so I would always practice as in front of a bed. I'd let the bed catch the gun for me. So
yeah.
I posted a video. It's not of Gil, but it's from the Patriot Shooting Academy LLC. I have that posted on the Shooter's Mindset page. So if anybody watching wants to see an example of what we're talking about in action, there is a video up.
Boom. There you go.
Have you ever had an RO fuss at you about the hand touching the holster and say, you got to have your hands relaxed?
It is relaxed. If you look at most of those videos, you'll see that my hands are relaxed. They're equal.
Just in contact with it.
I can make contact with a holster all day long. It's the gun that I can't make contact with.
Gotcha.
You're not allowed to start with making contact with a gun anyways. Now,
I just know I'll wrap my fingers around the bottom of my holster, and I've had some before be like, relaxed. I'm like. Right.
And you'll see my fingers are relaxed. Not all, I don't hold them out like this. All right. I mean,
yeah.
The relaxed are kind of semi bent. Yeah. But I do allow, if you have your hands completely relaxed, you just drop your arms and they're relaxed, then your forearm will touch the outside grip panel of your gun. That's another index point. That's letting you know, or letting me know, that all I have to do is pivot with my shoulders and bring my elbow straight back to keep that position on the hand to come up on the gun the exact same way every time.
Boom.
Okay, so you have key points of reference that you need to use, when utilizing these techniques. Is it worth it? Absolutely not. I mean, it's when you look at the majority of the stages and how you start on these stages, that draw, you may get to use it twice in a major match. Okay, so at at that level of competition, you may be able to get, a second and a half on the other guy because he doesn't draw like that. But now you have to worry about the rest of the stage anyway, so it could be negligible.
Yeah. And Nikki, you had a question as far as on a single stack gun using the scoop technique when you would kind of, disengage the safety. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you go?
I can get it with I understand Glock and all that with the internal safeties, and you're not putting your finger in the trigger guard until you're ready to pull the trigger. But normally when I come down on my gun, as I'm pulling up, I'm clicking that. Obviously not up here. I'm trying to be in the camera, but I'm clicking that safety off and then moving the finger into the trigger guard as I'm pushing out.
Right, so you're referencing a 1911 style 2011
Correct.
pistol, which is what you're shooting 3-gun. And that drawer, when you come on top of it, she's just kind of knocking the safety off.
The thumb is kind of already resting there, so when you come down on your thumb's already resting there, so as you come up, you can easily click it. Obviously not up here, down here, but
right.
click it as you.
I don't use that technique because I like to keep this thumb semi-flagged up so I can put my hand in there and stack my thumbs. And as I stack my thumbs going forward, is when I disengage that safety.
So there you go. There's some more insight on the scoop draw. Wicked technique. If you guys, maybe you guys want to just.
I think any technique that if you practice it enough is going to work for you. I'm not saying one's better not than the other. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to show up at a match and do it this weekend because obviously, same reason I wouldn't show up and start quad loading if I've never quad loaded before. Until you've practiced it enough to where you feel comfortable, it's not going to be fast if you're not comfortable doing it. So
exactly.
The application of it is very limited anyways, so it's not it's
but
not like,
I'm also not winning or losing matches or coming in first and second by that split second. I'm about middle of the pack by a lot, so it's not, I don't think it could at another level for me. I just don't think I'm at that level.
Yeah, but it adds a lot of cool points.
Yes.
The CDI factor is pretty up there.
Yeah.
Pretty up there. So
so we got,
I wouldn't be surprised if Heath starts trying it or something like that.
Yeah.
Just because it's something new. Because it's always fun to learn something new. Like if you've been doing this thing the whole way, why not try it something different just to see? Why not learn a new technique just to learn it? If you didn't want to learn a new technique to get faster, then we wouldn't be quad loading or twin loading the shotgun. We would still be doing the old school where you rest all the shotgun shells on your finger and you do this move here.
Yep.
Right.
And the thing is, a half a second, that's a lot of time in the game that we play, right? Some people, how much money have you seen people spend on an accessory because they'll get a tenth of a second by adding that? I mean, I've seen people spend a few hundreds of dollars just to add a part because that might be a tenth of a second. Isn't that the same
reason you put extended mag releases on your gun and stuff too?
Exactly. So maybe half of a second.
This game is all about that, hundreds of seconds. Okay, when you look at a match and you add up the time that you were there shooting that match, and it comes to about 2 minutes, and so you spent all this money, and you traveled all this way for 2 minutes of shooting. That tells you how important those tenths of a second are. Okay, and it's all math. As you sit there and shave a tenth of a second here and 2 tenths there and 3 tenths over here in one stage, you may have your competitor, the guy who's competing against you, on that stage by 2.5 seconds. He may be a lot faster running than you, but your techniques are a lot faster and cleaner than his. And that's where you shave the time off. And that makes a huge difference.
Boom. We got a couple live ones here. One from Chris. He says, I always see Gilbert shooting production. Is that his preferred division?
No, it isn't. I love all divisions that I'm involved with. And I'm involved with production, single stack, limited. I haven't shot open in 20 years. All right. And that's just because I really like iron sights. And as I can still use them, if my eyes still allow me, I'm going to continue. Someday these eyes will start, they'll start failing, and I'll be shooting open. But
there you go. Eddie Diaz is in here saying, better not drop the gun. So that we talked about disaster factor, stuff like that. Nick of Time Shooting Channel says, does the scoop draw work while using an IDPA cover garment?
That's self-explanatory.
I think
There
so
you
too.
go.
I was gonna say I was thinking about that too because I have a hood on my holster, so I have a level whatever retention holster.
Level 2 or level 3.
And I'm thinking that might those were almost made for the come down on the one, but now I only.
If you try and scoop draw with a hood on it, you will give yourself a wedgie. That's a guarantee.
Well, I was just thinking some stages I don't have the hood on it. Obviously, the hood is for when you're
running with the gun,
running or whatever with the gun, and you have to do something crazy like sling your rifle. Sometimes I'll put the hood on when I'm going to try to pull a slung rifle around so it doesn't hook the gun and pull it out of the holster. But then there are stages where when they say load and make ready, I remove the hood, load my gun, put it in, and I don't put the hood back up. So it's still a possibility. I'm not counting it out. But for a second there, I was like, that would really suck if I had practiced that and then forgot that I put the hood on the holster and went to scoop and just be yanking at it the whole time.
And again, it'd probably be a lot more practical if it was a pistol. You were starting with your pistol. If you're transitioning from your rifle or shotgun to the pistol, and obviously that is going to be a waste of time because you're going to have to come down under the gun to scoop it. If I'm going to be, dumping the rifle, I'm going to dump the rifle and come over the gun just like you normally would draw. So,
Chris also said, how do you manage a surrender draw? You just resulting back to
the overhand draw.
Yeah.
It'd be counterproductive to come below the holster and then come back up.
Right. So Eddie Diaz says, are you back in town? Or when will you be back in town? It's from Eddie Diaz.
It depends on what town. I'll be in Miami tomorrow night.
Yeah, he's a Miami native, so he's shooting on the local side, so that's what he's referencing. What do we got? Andy Walker says, Gil, good seeing you making an appearance on the Shooter's Mindset. Looking forward to taking a class with you this summer. And that kind of leads us into your training company here, Patriot Shooting Academy. Tell us a little bit more about that and how do we contact you for training?
Well, I have a Facebook page. I also have a website. It's called traintoshoot.com. All the courses are there. The outlines are there, and there's a way to register. If I have a class coming up, there'll be a registration page for it. I limit the classes, the group classes. I limit to about 8 shooters, just because you really don't. I don't do what's called a group setting. Yes, I have a group, but I go from individual to individual throughout the day, so you won't really get the group approach. All right. We're here in East Tennessee. We're in the Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Smoky Mountain area. The range is actually about 35 minutes from the Smoky Mountain National Park. We have 89 acres there, and we have, an incredible to come to, not just for training, but to enjoy the area. Okay, we get 10 to 12 million tourists coming into this area every year. It's probably the second most populated, or visited national park in the U.S. Okay, so it's a great spot actually. I really love it here.
Next time I'm up that way, I'll have to hit you up because we go up to Gatlinburg sometimes and spend the week. Okay,
yeah, we're not far. We're not far from there. We're actually, like I said, 35. Depending on the traffic, how traffic could be there. Traffic could be horrible in that area. So we're at 35 to 45 minutes from Gatlinburg. We're about 20 minutes from Sevierville.
Okay, yeah. We usually stay that way. Not all the way to Seviersville, but we stay that end.
Okay. There we go.
Pigeon Forge area.
So yeah, we're in an unincorporated area. Where the range is actually inspected by the state. So we have a real range. It's we use it for some state stuff as well, and so it's a comfortable range. I have a training range, and then we have other ranges in the back that we do other stuff with. But the training range up front has has plate racks, that has some reactive steel, has swingers on it. We have all sorts of stuff to play with there.
I feel like nowadays, like trying to put a range anywhere, if it's like not already grandfathered in, it's like near impossible.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. And after we put this range in here, 4 years later, they changed all the laws in the county, and it would probably take a lot more than I could afford to put a range where I put this one. Okay, just because of the requirements that they want you to meet. So we got grandfathered in. We lucked out. We got grandfathered in, and we're good.
So all these people like, oh, we need new ranges in there. We need more outdoor ranges. Where are you going to put an outdoor range that's not already there? And if people complain that because we have some local state ranges where people can sight in rifles, I guess, before hunting season and stuff like that. So nothing like ranges we're talking about where you're shooting competitions and stuff. People always want to complain about how run down they are, how not in good condition they are. Why doesn't anybody open like a new range where you can't put it anywhere? I mean, the counties and cities just have so many restrictions and neighbor complaints and this, that, and the other. And it's just, if you're not grandfathered into a space, it's like putting a new range somewhere is almost impossible.
And that also depends, like you said, on your county ordinances and what their requirements are. But East Tennessee is pretty. Tennessee as a whole is a very, very gun-friendly state. All right.
So I'm in South Carolina, gun-friendly, but the county still. It's when you're dealing with elected officials and stuff like that, they're going to go with what the public wants, and if the majority wants quiet and peace and quiet, and they don't want you shooting on Sundays when church should be going on, you're not gonna win.
Yeah,
there you go. You've been involved with Bull Armory for quite some time now. However, I thought the company was fairly new. Can you tell us a little history about Bull and some of the pistols you're running?
Bull has been around for over 20 years. Okay, they make an excellent product. That was my first sponsor back in 1998. I shot the M5 line of guns, one of the best guns ever built. It was a high capacity 1911, but now they have an updated line, which looks very similar to the STI SV type guns, but there are some differences with the Bull. Okay, it looks similar, but there's a lot of stuff that is specific to the SAS2. And so that's the line that they have now for the wide body 2011s is the SAS. And these guys are incredible. When they build something, they build quality. Okay, I'm going to show you this. This is their SAS2 Air, and it's called Air because of the lightning on the slide. And this is the way the gun comes. Okay, you're seeing there's nothing been put extra here on this gun by myself. Okay, it comes with the magwell, the extended button, the ambi safeties, the adjustable rear sight with fiber optic front sight. It comes with an incredible trigger pull from the factory, and they all come with 3 magazines. Okay, all these competition guns. These are 126 millimeter for IPSC. So, but they're very strong in Europe. Okay, back when I was shooting for Bull here, they didn't have the marketing that they have now. Okay, and the importer that was importing the gun was not heavy into marketing, and so nobody knew the product that existed, even though it was a great product. Hardly anybody knew it existed. Now they have the SAS, and they also have single stacks. Okay, and again, this gun right here, what you're looking at is exactly the way it comes from the factory. Okay, there's nothing been done to this gun by me. As a matter of fact, this gun hasn't been shot. I might get you to shoot it this week over there in Florida. All right, this gun comes with the extended magazine release. It comes with about a 2-pound trigger pull as well from the factory. It's unbelievable. All right, you can see the cuts on the slide. This is called a saw model. And with the magazine, it came in weighing 42.4 ounces. So it's ready for single stack here or classic division in IPSC. And so they're making a quality product. They're putting out a very, very high quality product. They have been for the longest time, but their main market has been Europe. Okay, they've been feeding these guns to Europe for over 20 years now.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with Heath Clevenger on this because they also make some kind of carry size guns, some more tactical guns. They're not just competition.
Yes,
only.
they do. They make 3-inch barrel guns. They make all sorts of either wide body or single stack, and they make them in 45, 38 super, 9mm, 9x19, 9x21. So they make them in a lot of calibers. It's a pretty neat. They give you a lot of good options.
They have a double stack style 1911 that's like Glock 19-ish in size, which is kind of like that niche that I think some guys are looking for. So if you like that Glock 19 size, but you want a 1911 double stack, so you have that capacity still.
Yes.
Look into this the Bull website, Bull Armory. Take a look at that. There is a company who's doing the importing now. Some guy at a company out of Oklahoma.
IFC, International Firearms Corporation, out of Oklahoma. They're importing them and they're distributing them. So you can get a hold of them, and they'll be able to shoot you a price list and availability list as well.
Yeah. Contact me because I think I have that business card of the importer. Snap, okay. It's in my phone. If you want to get a hold of Gil, you can do that too. If you really want one of these Bull guns, because they're, like with any importing, Nick, you know about that importer process, kind of with that SPS stuff. It's not like, hey, let me get 8 of them, and it's not. They're not available. It's kind of like it's a pretty long process to get some of these guns into.
And by the time you order 8, and they finally make it overseas and get to America, then you've already sold those, and more people want them, and you got to do that process all over again as it tries to come over on a boat.
There you go.
Now, another thing I wanted to mention to you about the Bull double stacks. Like I said, they're not like the SPS and the STI and all that. They use the same magazines, and a lot of the parts are interchangeable. With the Bull, the grip is slightly different, and their magazine uses the same magazine as the M5 line. All right, from way back when. So an STI magazine will not work in this gun unless you modify the gun or the magazine. But Adrian Cobb from MBX Extreme is making the magazines for the Bull. Okay, so MBX has them, and then you get you get 3 of the factory magazines, but MBX makes the high capacity ones for the Bull as well. The trigger pad is also slightly smaller as the magazine release button. So those are things that are specific to this gun. Those 3 things.
And the magazines work out the box, unlike some other.
Oh yeah, those magazines work out of the box. I mean, but those magazines have been around for over 20 years working. So it's not like they had to redesign anything. They've been using this magazine, and this magazine has been. I use a lot of the Bull magazines when I shoot limited, okay, and then I use the MBX, obviously like everybody else, because you want that extra round in there, or extra 2 rounds. But the Bull magazines work great out of the box.
Oh. All right, we're going to move on to the discount corner portion of the show. Try to save you guys some money from some great companies who support the Shooter's Mindset show. Jen, you want to start us off here?
All right. First, Carbon Arms. You can get 10% off at carbonarms.us on great shell caddies, shotgun shell chest rigs, extension tubes. The ratchet belt is very popular. I love my ratchet belt. You can get 10% off with TSM 10. And that's at carbonarms.us. You can also get 10% off at the Shooter's Mindset store with the best code, Gen TSM10. Don't listen to anyone else. It's Gen TSM10 at the Shooter's Mindset store for any base pads, all kinds of, we got Gear Nation t-shirts, all kinds of stuff on there. So go check us out on there and get in there.
Boom. Are you doing a jersey discount? What's the jersey company?
Oh, yeah, and you get 10% off at Under. Is it TSM10? Is that what
I think so.
Destin said? Yeah, TSM10 on Under Industries on their jerseys. And they also have the cool padded elbow sleeves that I wear when I shoot PRS.
Mm-hmm.
So hit them up if you want to try some of those out.
There you go. Nikki, what do you got?
Also, if you check out TSM10, you can, or TSM website, you can use Nikki, N-I-K-I, TSM10 to save 10% in case you only have one hand and don't want to try to reach all over the keyboard to hit all those different letters to type Jen. Mm-hmm. You can also check out American Defense Manufacturing, save 10% there using discount code 3GUN10. It's the number 3, the word gun, and the number 10. Also hit up Robert King with Red Hill Tactical. Use discount code Clevenger to save 10%. Check out Dangerous But Good. Use discount code NikkiDBG10 to save 10% at Dangerous But Good. And then I have my Frenzies discount codes. Hit me up or Heath up on Facebook, Instagram, wherever. And we can save you 15% with Criterion barrels or 20% with True Spec.
Boom. There you go.
Gil, we are not doing replacement 10. Shut up.
Excellent. Gil, you have any discount codes on your end?
Wow. No. Poor Heath.
I don't have any. I'm sorry.
You don't have any. There you go. I got a couple on my end. What do we got? Shop.tacticalshit.com. TSM10 saves you 10% off the entire website and at their retail store. Taran Tactical Innovations.com. TSM10 over there. umtactical.com. TSM10 save you 10% off. Pretty much TSM10 is good at Walmart, Sears, eBay. I don't know. Just plug it in. It might work. And we have Rand CLP Mindset 16 for 15% off. RandCLP.com. All right, that'll do it for Discount Corner stuff. Live, Eddie Diaz says, when are you shooting PCC?
When am I shooting PCC?
Yeah.
I haven't had time for that. I mean, it looks like it's an incredibly fun division from what it looks like. I've shot it a couple times. I could get very hooked on that, but it's just, I'm so busy with the pistol shooting and training guys with pistols. And when I go to the local matches here, a lot of the guys that train here with me, I shoot with them. And if I were shooting a PCC, that would not be doing them any good as far as that's concerned. But it looks like a great division. All right. I just don't have a whole lot of time to do very many other things than what I'm doing. And I'd like to shoot 3-gun, and I haven't been able to do that as well. So it's,
Heath calls PCC like vaping.
Oh man, it's the vaping division of the sport. Oh man, it's not funny.
Wow.
There's a lot of memes out there on the PCC. It's all fun and games. It's funny.
I know I want one, but Heath keeps making fun of it, so I'm always like low key. Like if one shows up, I got to make sure you don't know about it, or he's gonna make.
It's like any other division. You're racing with whoever's racing in that division, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. The IPSC shotgun world shoot just kind of ended here. You've been on Team USA yourself and did exceptionally well. How was the world shoot experience for you, and how did you keep a consistent performance throughout those days of shooting?
The experience was unbelievable. It was awesome. All right, if you've never been to a world shoot, you need to. It's just an incredible thing to go to. How we, What I did was I kept goals in my mind, okay? So you have X amount of stages that you're going to shoot that day, and my goal was to make as little mistakes as possible. And because it was a team effort, I knew that we had a great team, okay? Frank Garcia had won a gold the last time, the last world shoot. I got a bronze. Then we had Gordon Carroll in there, which is a pretty hardcore shooter as well. And so getting those aggregate points I knew was going to be the ticket. And all I had to do was just keep myself from making as little mistakes as possible. And that was my goal, to every day treat it as just this match for this day. Don't worry about everything else ahead of us. Just do well this day and keep on plugging along with that. And we did pretty well. We were 500 and something points ahead of the next team. So basically it was just trying to shoot clean, try and stay consistent, and try not make very many mistakes out there. It wasn't like let's go for stage wins here. All right. No, this is a team effort. Let's go ahead and get as many points as we can as a team and that was the goal for all of us, not just for me. Okay, we all had the same mindset on that. And
that's a 4. Is it a 4-day total match or
6?
6 day. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. 6. And just an announcement. I mean, we had Josh. Was it Freilich or Froelich? What do we call him? We can never get his name right. Jen, you know it, right?
Freilich. So
I did say it right the first time, dude. We had him on the show. Remember, we had him. He was practicing for the World Shoot the shotgun thing, and he win overall in open shotgun. So that dude,
number 1 in open. Yep.
Yeah, and that dude, when you watch those videos, go to his page, comment, like it, whatever, and look at this dude's runs. This dude was in the zone. I mean, it was smooth. It was clean. It was very, very fast. I mean, this dude had it going on. So,
he's just so consistent. Like, they had the shotgun matches, the Lucas Oil, that were leading up to this, and he won every one of them. But he just was consistent. Everybody else would have, really blazing stages and then, a bad one. But he just was like consistently always calm and collected and fast.
Yeah. That dude was working his ass off to that stage, that match. I mean, that dude, you follow him on Instagram and stuff, and you can see that kind of journey. And he put it all on video for people to see the techniques he was training.
I mean, you almost have to. I mean, it's not your typical 3-gun where you're going to shoot against the same 3-gun people you always shoot against. You're about to be put on a world stage.
Yep.
I mean, how to go in there and not train differently or not train more than you normally would be setting yourself up to just like you're competing against the same people you always compete with. Go big or go home.
Exactly. Yeah.
World shoot. This is like the Olympics of shooting this kind of sport, because they don't really have this sport in the Olympics, even though they have air gun and whatnot. But
there we go. Yeah, agreed. Recent news. We shared it on the Shooter's Mindset, and kind of just sad to report, because I've known these people. I've sat down and had some dinner with some of the higher ups of Freedom Munitions. Now, I don't know if there was some change of ownership or what that was. I was never sponsored shooter or kind of involved beyond that point. But they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy recently here, as reported. So Freedom Munitions, major ammunition retailer, just filed that. So I don't know if they're going to kind of restructure the company, if they're still going to be selling ammo, how all that works, not sure. But that is the reported news. Your thoughts on this, Jen, on this Freedom Munitions kind of thing? I don't know if you ever shot their ammo or if you know of any. I don't know.
I think I had a box like one time when Jesse Tischhauser had some drawing on his page that I won 50 rounds or something, and it shot okay for me. That was probably 3 years ago, though. I had heard some recent issues that people were having, a lot of squibs. So I don't know. I didn't shoot it, so I don't know. I can't say firsthand.
Yeah,
I've shot it several times. I've never had an issue with it. I have read and seen other people post about issues they've had with it. I mean, it's some way, I guess it's luck of the draw. Now, I haven't had any recent boxes of Freedom Munitions. All my stuff is a little bit older, so I don't know if production changed or the processes in which they did things changed. But in all the stuff that I have never had an issue.
Yeah. My thing is that they did support a lot of the shooting sports. So anytime you do see a company go through bankruptcy, you're like, well, that's, regardless of really whether they supported the game or not, it just kind of sucks to hear. Now, Freedom Munitions has been sponsoring matches for a long time. They had a shooting team at one point. We know that wasn't highly involved in that. They supported some of the bigger YouTube channels with kind of some sort of sponsorship terms I'm not aware of, but I'm sure there was there. So I know a lot of guys on the local scene do shoot that stuff. Peter, GJ, the guys that I shoot with on the local scene, they shoot that stuff, and they don't reload. They just buy it from them directly. So just to hear that they're going down, now people have to look elsewhere. Kind of sucks. So grand scheme, that's the report. I don't know any further details on that. Hopefully they get it together, maybe some new ownership or whatever, and they still can produce quality ammo at a good price. What else we got here? Any upcoming matches, projects, or any goals you have, Gil?
Well, yeah, we have the IPSC Nationals coming up. I want to be able to make it to the senior classic team for the next World Shoot. I am a senior, and so that's going to take the next couple of years of preparation and shooting these nationals and making sure that you get enough points to make the team. So I'm going to be concentrating on single stack for the next couple of years. And my goal is to make it to Thailand in 2020 and represent the U.S. there. So we have, like I said, the IPSC Nationals. We have the U.S. Nationals, USPSA Nationals coming up also in October. I'll be shooting that in limited and single stack. And just keep on playing along with it. Keep on preparing for it. You know, these young guys, man, they're giving us a race. They're hammering us. And they're great shooters, so we gotta stay on our toes here.
There you go. Yeah, good luck with that, man. We'll hope to see you.
Yeah, good luck with that. Right?
Hope to see you, you know, up there and winning, just like Josh, man. When he said it, he came on here, man, and he really, really did perform at that event. What else we have? Teaching trigger control, right? What techniques do you use, and why? Why do you think that feels? Because I mean, I've been training a lot of people more often, more basic pistol stuff. And, you know, even you can, you know, you're loading the mag for the student, putting some snap caps in there, make them see that movement, that anticipation, and why the shot's going where it's going. You know, well, they said, I lined up the sights. It was perfectly there. And then why is my shots dropping low left an inch or two? And, you know, there's various techniques. I just wanted to see what you use and what you find's the best.
Well, trigger control is essential. I mean, for just about everything. And what it is a combination of things, not only anticipating recoil and teaching them not to anticipate recoil, but teaching them to be patient with their sight picture, okay? And watch that sight picture lift off of that intended spot on the target that you wanted to put that shot as you break the shot. In other words, you know, teaching them how to break the shot and maintain that sight picture, maintain the focus on the sight picture as they're breaking the shot. That's what it's all about. It's very simple, but it's not simple in the way that people treat it in their head. Okay, everybody tries to beat the gun to recoil. They want to push that gun down before the gun flips up, and there's certain techniques that we teach here to keep you in check with that. Okay. We use some dot drills. We use what I call a 5-dot drill, where you're going multiple dots on a target, and you're trying to maintain your trigger control in such a way that you're not bringing that shot away from that small dot. We use 1-inch dot, okay, multiple 1-inch dots, and we also try and create and let them create a rhythm or a cadence as they're doing this, which also helps in maintaining that focus on your sight picture as you're breaking the shot. So there's multiple things going on, and you know, dynamic shooting is very, very difficult to keep in check because we're impatient. All right, so but we train people to use technique, okay, to be able to execute the technique properly in order to get those shots in there. And trigger control is a big factor. But we do teach a lot of trigger control here. Half of the day will be on trigger control, just about. You know, what is training? You train, so what is training? Yeah, you know, it's repetitive action.
Repetitive, yeah.
Exactly, repetitive action, teaching the subconscious to commit an action without you having to think about it. That takes repetition. It takes proper training with repetition. Okay, improper training is going to teach the opposite. But so that's what I do here. We do a lot of trigger control exercises. We use steel, we use small steel, we use small dots, very small targets to make sure that you know that you're off as soon as you do it. Teach you how to recognize when your sights lift off that target that you were in the wrong place when you broke the shot. Not looking, but actually recognizing that front sight lifted off the wrong part of that target. Also teaches you Be patient with that trigger control and sight picture. Okay, so it's basically trigger control is breaking the shot without moving the muzzle, without moving that sight, without interrupting that sight picture from the intended target. That's all it is, but there's different techniques to do that.
Oh, yeah, agreed. I mean, you know, obviously in like an hour and a half session, it's kind of hard to squeeze in a basic pistol course, all that, and then trying to focus on just the trigger control because there's a lot more behind it. You know, some of these guys haven't even picked up a gun before.
Right.
You know, and then they get kind of, I had a guy that's frustrated. He's like, dude, the sights are there. You know what I mean? And it's just, and then we put a snap cap, and then he forgot to turn it. Well, we were using a 2011 because he said he wanted to shoot a gun with a safety. And, you know, whatever, I spoiled him with, you know, like an STI style 2011. I'm like, okay, well, he forgot to knock the safety off on that one, and he saw the gun dip low left. See, that's why the shot is, that's, you know, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to explain to them why it's happening too. The snap caps thing, I've done that, and they see the movement, but still, it still doesn't really get in a small time frame.
Right.
Why? And we're at 3 yards here. You know what I mean? This isn't, you know, target difficulty's not there.
We use dummy rounds. We'll put dummy rounds in there when they're not looking in their mags and stuff, and just so they can see how bad it is, and then we show them how to correct it. Now, it takes an incredible amount of repetitions. That doesn't happen in one day. No. You know, the shortest class I have here is about 6 hours. Okay, average class is 8 hours, and sometimes we go, you know, depending on the time of year, we'll go 8-9 hours till I can. You know, I don't just look through my curriculum and cut it off. No, I make sure that they understand what they need to do and that they get it right. So we do some, you know, I'll go ahead and go over the technique till they get it correct. Now it's going to be up to them to do homework and practice that, but they continue to get it right. But yeah, trigger control is one of those things that for the first 3 hours here, you'll be doing that. You know, just to get you dialed in on it, so there won't be an issue later on. So, yeah.
Well, we got a couple. Chris says, "Wow, on Freedom Munitions, Extreme as well." I don't think Extreme is part of this. I don't know. I think there was a sister company of Freedom. I'm not sure, but I didn't hear. I think Extreme is fine. So if you've been ordering your bullets or your projectiles from Extreme, you should be all right. He also says, "Great show to us. We appreciate you watching, Chris, and thanks for the compliment there." Eddie, driving the gun and anticipating recoil, two different things. Also, he adds, always a hard concept for a newer shooter. Exactly, it's kind of hard to get them to understand that, especially in if you're not doing a 6 hour course. If you're trying to squeeze something into that personal 1 hour kind of course, it's something that they need to work on further, or you need to work on them with them further on that. But other than that, any live, Jen, on your end, or we're good?
No live.
Okay.
I was just looking this up. I think it does say Extreme. It says Freedom Munitions is filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It's filing for bankruptcy along with other related brands, including Howell Machine and Extreme Bullets.
Okay, so there you go.
I think I buy Extreme Bullets.
So,
Not anymore.
Not anymore, I don't.
So
I think we got don't we have a discount code for those Gallant bullets?
Oh yeah, we do.
In search of.
This would be a good show to insert that.
Insert there, TSM10 over at gallantbullets.com. All right. If you were with Extreme. Or their discount code might be closeout10. Ouch, right? No, just there we go. But yeah, there we go. If like I said, there might be some reconstructing and some new ownership, and you might still be able to order Extreme and stuff like that. But if not, take a look at Gallant Bullets over in Utah. Okay, TSM10. All right, that'll do it. That's gonna wrap this one up. We'll wind this one down here to shoutouts. Jen, you start us off. What do you got?
All right, Prime Ammunition for that awesome ammo and good straight flying, not bankrupt, good stuff, no squibs. Night Force Optics for awesome scopes. Lansing Tactical for AR-15s, AR-10s. Grizzly Targets, Carbon Arms. Warren Scope Mounts. Shooters of Augusta, Sharpshooters of Augusta. Kestrel and We Bad. check them all out.
Yeah, take a look at that prime ammunition. If you're one of those guys that are not reloading and you still want to compete, still training and using them for matches and stuff like that, take a look at prime ammunition. All right. Hey, I don't know. I haven't used it. Jen uses it. I know the folks there seem to be good people. Give them a try. All
Great
right.
ammo.
Boom. Nikki, what do you have?
I'm going to shout out my sponsors, but I just got to give them an extra shout out on how awesome they've been during this season that has not gone as we have planned because of life. And I've just had my sponsors have just been fantastic with everything and understanding everything. So Criterion Barrels, American Defense Manufacturing, Eagle Imports, who brings in SPS Panteras, True Spec, German Precision Optics, The Outdoor Shop, Red Hill Tactical, Safari Land, and Dangerous But Good, and Zero Tolerance Knives.
Boom,
Thanks
there you go.
to all of them.
There you have it. Gil, what do you have as far as shout outs, man?
Well, I want to thank Contact Holsters. They made it very possible for me to do that scoop draw. Shooters Connection, Bull Armory for their awesome guns. I use a lot of my powder I use is Shooter's World Clean Shot. That stuff is awesome as well. They do a great job. And that's about it, man.
There it is. Shout out to my end. If you're watching on the YouTube side of things, right below the video, you'll see a subscribe button. Hit that. Every Tuesday at 9, we're doing a new episode of The Shooter's Mindset featuring a great guest. So you'll be able to stay tuned if you're subscribed to The Shooter's Mindset. What else I have is the folks over at Tactical Shit for their support. I think 2 years now they've been doing this with us. So appreciate their support here. Also, DK Custom Triggers is
Yes.
triggers that I've been rocking in my Glocks for many years now, a few years now. And like I said, if you're toying around with these new Gen 5 Glocks, there's some differences in some internals there. And DK Daniel over at DK Custom Triggers has got a Glock 34 Gen 5. Like, I think he pulled it under 2 pounds or something, somewhere in that. And that wasn't really heard of with some of the older generation Glocks. It won't be reliable enough. But he's got one running. And if you want your trigger to be that good, contact him over at DK Custom Triggers, okay? Email me, theshootersmindset@gmail.com. If you want to email me, that's the email. All right. Definitely thanks to Gilbert for coming on, man. Appreciate it. It was a good show. Hopefully we see you. We have some time and we can see you. We'll do that. We'll shoot some of the bull pistols. That'll be awesome.
Right.
Gear Nation USA for their support, and the folks over at Rise Armament. That'll do it for my shout-outs for this show. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Episode 223 of The Shooter's Mindset, and we're out of here.